the PAM MENA conference here in Dubai. Lunch is happening next door, so it's quite quiet in the conference room, but I'm joined by Mahmoud El Sawah, who is the founder of AirNxt. AirNxt without an E, so AirNxt, but AirNxt, to be honest. You're one of our exhibitors. You also spoke yesterday. Just a quick intro to what AirNxt is. What do you do? What's the solution?
So, as an aviation maintenance engineer myself, I started aviation nearly 20 years ago, and I worked with lots of legacy ERPs to manage the engineering and maintenance are working as you know. And the idea with AirNxt was to create the first next generation ERP to manage aviation maintenance and engineering. The same way today we are all used in 2026 to use software and SaaS in our daily lives, and like imagine it, like we all have a smartphone outside of work, but when you go to the company, they give you a Nokia 6600 and tell you to go do some fax.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's that idea that actually, as you say, in our consumer lives, these technology we use all the time, the latest iPhone, is built for our use. It's built for our UX. But no one thinks about UX when it comes to B2B technology.
It's not that no one thinks about UX. It's that just like in more than 20 years, there's no new ERP to cater to that market segment. And we've been, I won't say suffering, but we've been accepting that status quo because we don't have another choice.
It's how it's always done. So so you're essentially like a next gen ERP. Basically, you're very, very succinctly what you are. Yesterday you spoke and talked about tech adoption, and obviously it's very much aligned with what we're talking about. But any successful tech implementation will fall or die by its adoption, of course. It could be the best tech in the world. Exactly. If your people don't use it, they don't like it, or they can't understand it, it'll fail. So what are the principles about behind getting adoption to the highest levels possible?
Today, you need to think of it like it's the same thing that when we talk about next generation, it's just like AirNxt is the next generation ERP. Well, when we started there, we had to define what is next generation, right? Because it's easy to say next generation and go on their website. Everybody says next generation. But in 2026, next generation definition is quite easy, actually. We all have smartphones, right? Mm-hmm. And how many applications are there?
Oh, I can count. I mean, too many. I can't keep control. I've got them all in folders.
Download.
Some come, some go. Some stick forever.
And how many did you get training?
Probably 0.
How many did you download because there was a sales pitch?
Gosh, I don't know. It's a difficult to answer. I mean, nearly 1 or 2. Yeah, probably. I've just answered one. I will need
you download after a recommendation.
Probably quite a few then, I guess.
And then what did you do? You downloaded it, you tried it, you didn't like it, or you liked it, right?
Yeah, there's a few that probably I got rid of, but a few that just sit there unused.
Exactly. So if you download it and you try it and you find the value, in some cases you might even subscribe, right? Because that's how it works. It's like that's what we call now. It's like product-led market or product-led sales. The 20 years ago model that we are still with now is the sales, where you have requests for quotes, quotations, and then you go sales to a pitch, and then you go demos and commissions and so on. And in the end, after about 2 years of implementation, $2 million later, you give it to the inventory guy, and he's like, "What is this? I don't like it." And then he goes back to Excel.
Yeah,
and that's
into the whole process. Very costly, very time consuming. Exactly. And at birth, it's finished already.
Exactly. But you're too late. You cannot go back on your words, you know. And that's the definition of next year is that we should remove these barriers to entry, right? If we want that adoption, we should remove the barriers to entry that hampers that kind of technology. Like if you want people to adopt predictive maintenance, for example, you need to make it easier for them to adopt it. You need to make it integrated in their day-to-day activities. You don't need to ask them to do more work. You know? And that's another thing is like you cannot give new technology to people, tell them like it will make your life better, and then you tell them like, but now you need to add steps.
Yeah.
And this is also something that we always do. And like if we are like creating a process or something in the system, we say like, okay, how many steps do we have? And if it's like you say 5 steps, we usually try to be less than 5 steps. And if any step that doesn't add value to the user, we try to automate it.
Yeah. Take added steps.
Yeah.
It's the principle of starting with the end user, isn't it? As in an Apple certainly started with the consumer, the end user in that sense. So you said you're an ex-engineer yourself, so you've been an end user, you've built the system.
Yeah.
Practically speaking, what is it like to use AirNxt for the end user? Why do you think you built something that will be a bot?
Exactly. So the first thing that we try to do is that, as I'm saying, like we try to remove the barriers to entry. Today, if a B2B try, or let's say an airline, the will try to look for an ERP for maintenance, they need to go on the website, do the research. Right? That's what they always do. If you need the tool, you look for it. And then you don't have any information and you need to contact us to get it in, right? AirNxt are different.
Yeah.
You subscribe and you have access right away.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And for
Teaching yourself to use it. It's intuitive.
Yeah, exactly. It's intuitive. You don't need to we try to use it right away.
Yeah.
We created this AI engine that helps you to import your data and cleans it, and it helps you also map it. So this process actually is the one that we want. We want the end user to log in, right? Invite his colleagues.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I found this tool bound to help us, instead of going to Excel. Right?
Yeah.
And then they start using it. And once they start using it, it grows organically. Like we go to the manager and then ask the manager to subscribe.
Yeah.
And the pricing is on the website. It's any SaaS.
What you've got to do, I guess, there's two types of end user. There's the established engineer who's got their own ways of doing things who you don't want to disrupt too much, put it into their workflows and naturally, and hence they adopt it. But equally, you've got new people coming into an industry who they come in with expectations about technology from wherever they come from, even if it's their consumer life. So I suppose you've got to be able to sort of cater to both those different kind of clients.
Exactly. And don't forget that we are in a regulated environment.
Yeah.
Right? It's a regulated industry. We have the EASA regulation, FAA regulation, and civil aviation regulation. So we need to respect these. The Part IS, Part KMO, Part 145. These regulations are things that we embed in the design and conception of the system.
Yeah.
Because the system should help you, as they say, it should help you make your life easier.
Yes.
If you have a civil aviation audit, system should not be answered. Right?
It's like you say, we were talking yesterday after your session. It's if you're going to do predictive, just provide the workflow, the task to the engineer in the way they've always got it. Don't just make it more difficult or complicated. Definitely just a simple task they've got to do, like everything else.
Exactly, and it's something I always say. And like when you design a feature, you always have the user persona.
Yeah.
And when we look at this user persona, I always say, look, make the user persona do his job. You don't need him to do extra. You want him to do his job. It's up to the system to do the rest.
Yeah.
It's like this kind of ERP, for me, it's the nervous system of the company, right? And this nervous system is responsible to manage all the departments and link them together and keep them on the same level of information.
Yeah.
So if your nervous system is asking you to do more work, it's because it's not good.
Yeah. You call your nervous system, and you can imagine for an airline looking to changing the nervous system is a big bet. It's a big risk anyway. So, but are you seeing there's an appetite among airlines to now look at this and say, actually, it is time to do this. It is time to take the leap.
Yeah. There's lots of developers are still working with systems that we built in the 80s, and they've been launched. Lots of them succeeded in Excel. That's why. And one of these bigger barriers to entry was the rating. But the data transition, regulation again, we need to keep the data. We cannot throw anything. And up an aircraft is 20 years of data and keep that and move it to the new system. Right? And that's why it was very important to create this AI agent that do it yourself, import your data alone. Like it goes in a sandbox, you see the data, you see how it looks like in the system. If you're happy with it, it moves to the white environment.
Right. There was a little sort of slightly cheeky question you had on the Slido platform yesterday. Is this theory or is it a product?
Yes.
Obviously it's a product, but I guess it is a product. It exists. But
it have on the website.
It also has to evolve as well, I guess. So it's got that ability to, if you need to change, if you think, right, actually times have changed, or I think we need to do this, it's got this ability to flex and evolve, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. It's the heart of a product-led software. Yeah. You need the feedback of the users, and according to that feedback, you pivot, you adjust, right? So you make the features that the users need, not that you think they will.
Yeah. Time's nearly up, but we're nearly at the end of the conference. We've got a few sessions this afternoon before we close up. How's it been? How's it been for you? Do you learn things when you come here? I mean,
I I was with you guys on the Singapore event. We talked about it. I told her like you should come to Dubai. It was great.
That was your idea. Take credit.
Thank you. I'm taking credit. Yeah, of course. But actually, I really like it. It's like, what I was saying is like this kind of, let's say, not big scale, so small scale events where you can share knowledge and like higher up the bar. It's very important, because these are the kind that we need. Aviation is a little bit late. We have about 20 years of delay catching up, and it's something that we need to work on and working on by sharing knowledge.
And there's a good spirit of collaboration in this event always.
It's important. It's one of the aviation DNA. It's like everybody shares information. Like when an aircraft is created, there's the maintenance review board, and that the review board is airlines, civil aviation, OEM. They all work together.
Cool. Look, thanks very much for joining us. Really
No
appreciate it.
problem.
And we'll see you in Singapore again, or maybe Dublin, or both.
We'll see about that.
Okay.
Of course.
Thanks very much.
Okay, so for our second podcast interview today, I am joined by Zoe O'Byrne,
Yes.
who's a sales executive at our passenger sponsor for the PAM MENA conference, Eirtrade. So very good to see you. Thanks. That's a pleasure. Thanks for coming. So just tell us about your job. What do you do at Eirtrade?
So I sell engine components mainly.
Okay.
So I manage MRO accounts, on behalf of Eirtrade. So we're focusing on furthering these accounts, developing better relationships and trying to provide, a specified service to the people most efficient and clear way.
The clients, therefore, the actual MROs, airlines themselves.
Airlines
obviously.
themselves, yes, it's a diverse mix,
Yeah. So anyone who's getting an engine to a shop, I need a part. Where do I go? Are they often coming quite late notice because they've got an engine
So
they
can
didn't
be.
expect?
See, so in terms of AOG, so recently we've actually developed our AOG service and our 24/7 offering AOG.
Yeah.
We have a specific team for that as well, which is fantastic now. And, we can specify their needs. We can, we want to be that go-to. We want to be that person
Trusted
more or less.
Yeah.
You're stuck in a bind and we can help you.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Oh, we're talking about predictive here. It's the whole point of the conference. So AOGs, I think if there's a lot of AOGs, you're probably not doing predictive because you're not expecting stuff to happen and it happens.
Yeah.
In a predictive world, actually, it makes your life potentially easier because you don't have that kind of last minute rush for parts.
So we want to streamline our process. So we want it to be the most effective and clear, the most efficient way for our customers possible. So, with predictive, we can cut those lead times down. We can cut that wait, that unexpected side of things for our customer, which is, ideal. That's all what we all want.
And as we know, I think your panel earlier talked a lot about difficulty getting hold of the parts these days because there's so few of them about, so few engines to buy.
And of course, with the constraints as well, that affects the pipeline. It affects, what we can buy. And we're really keen to get, aircraft at the newer deal and, specify, we want to be able to provide the best thing as possible.
Yeah.
So, predictive is.
So you specialize in the engine side.
The engine side.
Okay, so I know I've been to one of the facilities in Dublin. You've got the big warehouse there with crates stacked 43 feet in the air. Yeah.
Yes.
Goodness knows what in them. For an uninitiated, who knows what you've got in there? But you've got a lot of stock. I mean,
Absolutely.
how quickly does this stuff turn around?
Very quickly.
Yeah.
And we try our best, of course, and in terms of obviously OG, we have that team set up now, so at least that process is there when it comes to it. But in terms of more day to day, less than the AOG side, it is a very quick turnaround, and we're very fortunate. So we have, as you said, a warehouse in Dublin, we have one in Dallas, so that that pertains to a whole new set of clientele, which makes their life easier. It makes and we can are you more Europe based or is your AOG that kind of aspect. We're very lucky. We won a new bridge as well, and it's only going to get bigger.
Yeah, it feels like it's a complicated industry. This is very technical, very engineering, and I think you've been in 2 years, have you?
2 years, 2 years in February.
So how do you learn all these acronyms, names of things, and understand what? I mean, it must be quite daunting.
It is. And, I think as well, I'm very fortunate in Eirtrade and where I work, that I work for a lot of names and faces that would recognise in aviation. I'm very fortunate to have that kind of peer relationship where they can pass down, tips and tricks and expertise. And, there's a lot to be shared. And I'm very fortunate that I'm in a position to be able to receive that. Also, of course, our technical team are vital. I wouldn't be able to do anything.
Lean on them for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And, it's all we couldn't do without each other. Everybody working in collaboration is the only way it works. And I'm very fortunate that I'm in a place that not only can I access that information, but they're they're wanting me to access that. They're supporting me through that. We're going on different courses, different training with different people, and all different aspects of the industry. Very fortunate in that sense.
So Airtrade we know Airtrade very well, obviously, for many reasons, but also you're one of our twice best places to work in aviation winners. And that's all about, well, it's a great accolade. It's all about how you look at staff, from outside of work, but also how you train and nurture staff to go through their career. So do you feel you get support from that?
100%. It's not only about, the brand, which of course is a huge element. But they want us individually to grow our careers and to go on our Phoenix story. Ken always says it's about your journey, and it's about
Ken's boss.
Yes, Ken is.
Those who don't know.
He really supports that, and he really fosters that. And it's about they take into account your opinion and what you want, and you being happy. And I think that makes the job much easier, makes your life much easier, and it's a really great place to work, and I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to do so.
So you're selling parts, but actually there's a people element.
Absolutely.
You've got accounts, you've got people you can get to know.
Exactly.
So
Personal relationships are massive. And yourself, these conferences I'm fortunate enough to experience.
Yeah.
It's about, we all like to buy stuff from people we know and people we feel we get along with, and people that are listening to us. And not only listening, but you're going to tell me one time that you need this specific part. I'm not going to ask you again. I'm going to try and cater to your specific needs. And people really appreciate that. It makes everybody's lives much easier. So it's really important to foster those personal relationships for honestly just business growth. Yeah. And especially as well with your colleagues. We all lean on each other. We all learn from each other. And it's, the personal element, I think, is one of the main factors that I deal with on a daily basis.
I know you do a lot of promoting the Airtrade brand, and clearly you're selling particular products and components, but actually, by the time, because of the scale of the demand out there and the restricting supply, in reality, once you advertise something, it's probably already sold, isn't it? It's not like I'm saying, it's not like selling a pair of shoes or something in the consumer world. But what you are saying to people is constantly, look, you need something. We're probably going to be able to.
Absolutely. So the great C team, really fortunate that this year the pipeline is awesome. It is huge. We just had our annual sales meeting. It's very impressive. In the team we've done superb, and you'll hear Lear here who was speaking, that's a lot of his work as well, and his team. It's fantastic. It makes my life much easier, it makes sales much easier, but it's huge. We're trying to specify, we're trying to predict what you need before you need it.
I suppose you're feeding that back into the process, because you've got the buyers out there looking for the engine, the airframes. So you say, look, I've got a done. Give us a demand for this. We're finding. Let's talk about just you are you're young and female. I know you don't want to make a thing about the fact you're female, but it's a very male dominated business still, and even our conference this week is sort of underline that, but we have people on stage talking about these sort of things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just it's actually more important we get young people into this industry. So when you're out and about, you can speak to friends, ask you what you do they get it? Do they understand? Do you get excited about this industry?
I'll talk about it all day long.
Yeah.
But sometimes I get a bit of a funny reaction, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's more surprise. It's something unknown. So in fairness, now they're very good in colleges, and I know the Dixon Aviation course, they are very good at pushing the knowledge on it, I think, in recent years. But I do think there was a little bit of a gap there where people don't necessarily know the very job opportunities, career opportunities in aviation. They kind of think maybe a pilot or SAS, whatever. And that's kind of where that's where it ends. But once it's explained, it's a very interesting thing. It is massive opportunities in this industry, and I think it would only be a great thing if more people were aware of that. And look, Airtrade is trying to push that all the time. We're very fortunate that we have a varied age group in our staff, and that benefits us. Different perspectives and growing experiences. But I think definitely pushing towards a younger audience would 100% help, and it would probably also help in terms of male dominated aspect of it too.
And that naturally will, without even trying this.
It will just
organically, which is the best way of doing it.
Great.
Yeah, I'm forcing it, sure. I mean, if you're not in the industry, I certainly know that there were companies like Airtrade that take aircraft at the end of life, tear them down, and put the parts back into the industry.
A lot of people don't really know in general how the process works. So once it's explained, it's very interesting. I mean, most people will find are very intrigued by it, which is great.
Yeah. So what do you look for you're looking forward to a long career in aviation? What What do you think you'll end up doing? I mean, this is just the start.
I do really enjoy sales.
Yeah.
Sales is, I like the people aspect, I like the communication aspect, building relationships, and and the more opportunity I have to promote Eirtrade at events like this, which we're very happy to do so, and further conferences, I think, look, I'll be delighted with that.
Yeah. And talking about this event, the small time we've got left, just how have you felt that this event's gone? It's obviously you've supported us all the way through on our PAMs, and we're growing all the time. So it's been good.
I really enjoyed it, and it shows me, not necessarily strictly my role, but I think it provides a better general overview for me, and I learn technical things, and it's great to meet people and put faces to names. And look, it's a great opportunity, I think, for everybody here, whether you think it pertains to you or not.
Cool. Look,
Thank you so
like
much.
I said, we very much appreciate the support. We'll see you later on in the year, I'm sure, particularly in Dublin, your home. So thanks very much again, and thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, so in this final interview of 3 today, we're recording at the PAM MENA conference, our first ever for ABN Cast. I'm now joined by Sean Steinmans, who is the founder of Robot Toolworx.
Yes.
He's one of our exhibitors, but also a speaker. So I think he'll be on stage twice, not 2 days. So thanks for coming in. Thanks for doing that for us. It's been really interesting. Just tell us a bit about Robot Toolworx first and what you do.
Yeah, so Robot Toolworx, we are a automated simulation platform for aftermarket maintenance, repair, sustainment. So we basically take all your data, maintenance manuals, tech pubs, diagnostic, and then a lot of imagery as well that you have, isometrics, photos, CAD systems. We then inject that into a data model where we allow your team to then authorize and then push it into a video game.
Okay.
So you have a visual guidance step by step on how to do any repair in your tools.
Okay. So when you came up with this idea, what problem were you addressing that you felt the industry had?
Yeah, so we noticed that there's a giant labor shortage in the technicians and mechanics across all parts of aviation, MROs, airlines, even OEMs who are working with a lot of these groups. And we noticed there's going to be a giant knowledge base that's going to be leaving the industry as well, right? Aging industry, not enough young people want to do the work, and all these assets are getting older and more complex. They're getting retrofitted, there's new parts being added. You get a lot of young, early in career technicians with no idea what they're working on, and then they get burned down, right? So we want to, come up with the idea of how to retain all this knowledge and enable the workforce to be upskilled in real time, and to shorten a lot of the delays that is with maintenance systems.
Before this aging demographic, and it's inevitable.
Yeah,
they will retire.
yes.
Before they go, they can leave their knowledge, their experience in the industry and say, we had 20, 30 years of this. We're passing this on to the next generation, and they can pick it up more quickly using more.
100%. And a lot of people shift to training. Hey, we just need more training. It will work.
Yeah.
We have a different opinion on training. We think training's, it's helpful, but in the long-term scheme of things, it's kind of useless. You sit in school for a week, then you don't work on that actual thing you learned for 2 years from now, right?
Practice.
Exactly. So you kind of think of us as AI guidance in front of your face at all times, identified to the tail number, engine number, asset number, etc.
And also the job itself is changing, isn't it anyway? So it's not like you can just replicate the old ways of doing things now on a training schedule for the new generation. They make the way the roles may change, and they get more specialists.
Yeah, a lot of the younger generation's digitally native, right? When they need anything in knowledge, they're instantly pulling up their phone and they're Googling something, right? They're going on Reddit, they're going on YouTube. They, everything's at their fingerprints, and it's silly not to have our, those same people have that experience they have in their everyday lives for their professional life.
So how did you get into this personally? Are you, because you have a bit of a background.
Yeah. So a little bit about me is earlier in my career, I did maintenance and general aviation. And then I shifted my way into venture capital, where I was an investor at an early stage venture capital fund. I did seed stage investing for aviation, aerospace, defense, maritime, a lot of heavy industries. While I was there, I met my co-founder. He was the operating partner at the fund. He's an experienced technologist. He worked on a lot of defense systems and avionics. He then also built software and hardware for the aerospace and aviation sectors. So me and him kind of incubated this idea internally at the fund, decided to jump ship around a third co-founder who's a semiconductor engineer, 40 plus patents, really experienced team, raised a little venture capital dollars, one from a large airline, a few other industrials, because we're not just aviation specifically, we work across heavy industries. And that's how we got started.
Right. Okay. How is fundraising in this sector? You were showing me earlier about what's going on in parts of LA and in the States. Quite a vibrant sector. So is it easy to find funding when you're at such early stage, or is it a battle?
Yeah, I think no matter what industry you're in, fundraising will be hard. You're selling an idea to these people who have millions of dollars, and you don't actually have anything physical or anything to show them. There's no revenue, there's no product. You're just kind of selling a dream. It's concept. So, always pitching to investors is always difficult. The key is finding the right investors who buy into the industry, the idea, the vision to go forward. There is a boom right now happening in the early stage development world of startups focusing on these hard industries. A lot of aerospace, some stuff in aviation. You're even seeing it in the public today with companies like Archer and Joby, other VTOL companies, Jet Zero. But even earlier than that, there's a ecosystem of like-minded people who are focusing on these industrial markets. With that, there's a lot of investors who are industrial focused. That's who we went after. So we have a great investor, MENA Mobility. They're our lead. They're based in New York. They're completely an industrial focused fund. All of their limited partners are large OEMs of industrial assets, whether it be auto, ships, ports, whatever it may be. So there is a growing economy. That being said, also a lot of the generic funds that used to only do SaaS, fintech, accounting software, they're now looking at industries like aviation as potential opportunities to invest. They might not understand the sector, which also makes fundraising very difficult, especially the team that understands the industry. So selling to these investors the idea of maintenance is very difficult. I remember we were talking to a fund, and they didn't even know what maintenance was. They just thought you get on the plane, goes point A to point B. They didn't realize that this industry, that these planes need to be fixed. And they also didn't recognize that industry alone is millions and millions of dollars. So part of it is kind of educating these people who are downstreaming these sorts of capital ideas.
Is this trend toward sort of industrial hardware industries? Would you put down maybe a bit of a Tesla, SpaceX phenomenon where a lot of the really exciting stuff is happening there? Not so much now, maybe in the sort of web software area. It's so dominant.
100%. I think if you even look at across the startups being founded, a lot of them come from SpaceX and Anduril and Tesla, work in these harsh environments and hardware and new ideas, and they're paving the way to then go start ideas in similar industries, right?
People realize they can make a big difference.
Make a big difference, and for the investors, you can make a lot of money. But more than anything, you move the entire industry forward. I think also to it is all these industries are old. Assets are old. Even aircraft, they're old, right? Aircraft are probably, in a different idea than other industries like shipping or ports. But, if you're ever getting in a car driving down the road, stuff's falling apart. So I think a lot of young entrepreneurs see all this as, great opportunity to innovate, partially because they're upset about it, right? And they want to make change.
So you've got to persuade the investors. The other critical people who've got to persuade are the airlines. We talked about that earlier, or you were speaking about that earlier in the stage. And put the case for working with a small startup tech-driven company like yourself. So, just repeat what you said on stage about what the case is for a large airline to, I guess, take a little bit of a risk and work with guys.
Yeah, what I'll say is airlines, OEMs, MROs, they operate businesses, right? They operate an airline, which has, they're dealing with customers, they're dealing with logistics, they're working with governing bodies. They're not technology companies. Us, as a startup, even an early stage company, that's all we do all day is go fast, break things. We're constantly innovating, and we live in the technology world. That's our day job. So I'd say to all the business units out there, it's not really a risk because this is what we live every day. I don't expect to run an airline. I would never come here to that job, but for technology, this is our bread and butter.
Yeah. Breaking things is a bit like getting people nervous in airlines, but
we're breaking things internally.
we're
breaking
things
internally.
it's like internally.
Yeah, internally.
Yeah, you won't know. It won't know it's broken as a you. Yeah. Look, our time's nearly up, but we're nearly the end. I think it's probably about to start to the final afternoon sessions. It's been an interesting 2 days, I think. Yeah, hopefully, as you'll agree, our first one in Dubai.
Yeah.
But personally, what did you get out of coming to supporting it?
Yeah, I think PAM is one of the more innovative conferences I've been to across sectors, and especially in aviation. They're definitely forward thinkers. I think they attract a lot of people who are also forward thinking where the industry needs to go.
Yeah.
It's the regional aspect's also great because you meet a lot of people in person that you otherwise not meet, right? So I think for us, it's a great opportunity to meet real decision makers who are forward thinking, who want to see the industry move forward.
Yeah. We like to talk about the PAM mindset.
Yeah, the PAM mindset.
And there's the people in every business has got the PAM mindset. We have to find them. Here.
Yeah,
so
100%.
introduce them to people like you. So look, we're really happy we've done that this week. And thanks for supporting us. Thanks for being here. And we'll see you again.
Awesome. Thank you.